This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all it counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. Here with me, I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
None much, man. Just a long day, end of a long weekend. We're here on Tuesday night. And I missed last night because I was jet lagged after I got home and took my ass to sleep quite early. Over the weekend, I was out of town. I was in Brooklyn, New York, for my sister's baby shower. And my God, what a long, excitement-filled weekend. Pretty much starting from Friday on. What's going on with you, though, man?
Not too much. I went to Spark Joshi's show in Orlando with Zach Porter, one of our friends and one of the people that contributes in the in the stream on Twitch or whatever. Yeah, man. I got a story. So
I'll let you go first, and then I'll get to mine.
Yeah, mine's not a long story, but it's an embarrassing story. So I get there early, and
what?
Yeah, I got there before Zach did, which means I got there the doors open at 4, bell starts at 5. I got there like 4:30ish. Mm-hmm. Right? So I get in there, general admission ticket, whatever, and they just hand us streamers. And I was like, huh, really? Y'all ain't finna charge for these? I don't know why I said it out loud, but I said it out loud just how surprised, normally Ring On or different places, they charge for the streamers. Right. So he handed me one, then after I said they handed me 3. I was like, okay, whatever, sucker. So, let's fast forward to the best match on the card, in my opinion. Miyu Watanabe versus Kylan King. So Miyu comes out. It's time to throw the streamers. I go to throw my streamer, and the roll of toilet paper with the adhesive part that keeps it together, and you got to open it up, and then maybe the next roll around it might also have adhesive. All right, so for some reason I didn't think that, so I rip it open, I throw it. I'm thinking it's going to hit the middle of the ring. No, it heads directly towards Miyu. And I see it's not unraveling. And I'm like, I turned away in shame and embarrassment and disgust. Because I know what's about to happen. It's about to hit Miyu. So I look away. Zach starts laughing. All I see is Zach go, I look up, man. Like, oh, what are you doing? I look back at Miyu. Miyu was like, what the still with the gigantic, the biggest smile in the universe. Like, she made a face like, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm sorry. And she goes, oh, it's fine. Okay. You didn't do it on purpose. You ain't actually trying to, start no hate comment bullshit. Bro, oh my God.
This man James throwing shit at women.
Right. So then.
What were you going to do next? Throw a battery?
Oh my God. So then after the show, they had they were selling merch before and after the show. So after the show, I go and I buy the Miyu shirt just because I had to, I was gonna buy the shirt anyway, but after that one, I was like, yeah, I definitely owe you. So Miyu Yamashita is there too. You know, older Miyu, like she speaks English. She knows a bit because obviously she's been over here a bunch of times. I think this is one of Miyu's first time ever being over here, right? Uh-huh. So like she doesn't speak a lick of English, and I'm trying to explain to her that like I'm sorry for what happened. It wasn't over, but she didn't understand none of that shit. I was like, whatever. Just move on past, make you a shirt, and that was that. And I was like, man,
you gotta use that Google Translate, man.
Man, I ain't got time
and hold up the symbols.
Nah, because here's the thing, hold up the symbols. He's stupid. Nah, my whole thing is like, hey, I can't. She don't understand. I ain't got time to waste her time when she got more marks to go ahead and sell her, get more money off of. Let her go ahead and do her thing, and I could just get the fuck on the way, got the way. She was okay with it. She obviously realized, or not okay, but like she realized like it was an accident. I went out here trying to like, you know, throw rotten tomatoes at her and shit. So yeah, man. But shout out to Zach Porter, that motherfucker. He looked like him. I was like, what were you pointing? Like, I think it was a reflection. I think it was a gut initial, like, visceral reaction where it was like, nah, don't think it was me. I didn't throw that. He did. I think that's what happened. But I don't like how he passed the buck on me so quickly. I do not appreciate that. I don't. I understand it, but I don't appreciate it. So yeah, that was my story for the weekend.
Man. Yeah, I saw the updated James and Miyu Yamashita picture for this year.
Yeah. I need to tell that story too, don't I?
Probably.
Yeah. So New York City 2019 for WrestleMania weekend. One Nation Radio and Keepin It Strong Style both went up there to obviously take part of WrestleMania weekend. You know, see all the shows. Went to the Supercard G1 stuff. We went to Shimmer 113. So we were leaving out of Shimmer 113 to try to make it to the Stardom show because it was Shimmer 113, Stardom, and then Takeover. So on the way walking out, I look over in this corner and there's like I see Miyu Yamashita and I'm like, oh shit, that's her. And like I've seen obviously at that point in time I've seen probably a couple dozen of her matches and then like I was a fan of hers. I thought she was the best wrestler in Tokyo Joshi Pro at the time, and that was like when I first start getting into Joshi. And I liked her so. Like, I noticed her, she noticed me noticing her, and I was like, all right, well, let's take a picture. So, took the picture. And at that point in time, I was probably like 330-some pounds or whatever else. So, I wanted to meet you at the show, and I showed her the picture. And, like, I was telling her, like, yeah, I met you in 2019, and, for whatever show it was she was doing in New York City. She goes, oh, okay. She looks at the picture. She looks back up, look up at me, and then, like, she goes, what? she heard, she intellectually heard what I was saying, obviously, in her second language, but then, like, once she looks down and sees me and then looks down and sees, this is what it used to be me. I ate me, and then I look like I threw myself back and I'm smaller now. She was like, wait, what? And then, like, we took a picture again, so we ended up doing the double fist pose, whatever else. But yeah, like, it was just, it was funny to see that reaction. It was funny. Because, like, I mean, I don't think I've talked about it on the show yet, but, like, I've lost 100 pounds.
Clap it up for James, y'all.
Don't do that. I'm only bringing it up just so they can understand, like, how much weight I've lost, in the last, 13, 14 months, whatever. But yeah, like, it was just funny to see her reaction. She was like, oh, she's like 2019, 4 years ago. I was like, yeah. And it was also another funny story I got with Maya Yuki. So Maya Yuki speaks pretty good English, not as good as like Sheeta, but like better than Miyu. And like for some reason, when I was at her table, I totally forgot. So I'm talking to her as if she's like Miyu Watanabe, don't speak a lick of English, right? So I say something to her, not like patronizing, but just like I'm small detail, only numbers really I'm talking to her about. And now she hits me with that like, yeah, bro, I pretty much know what the fuck you're saying. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot. And I know you speak English because I'm actually a fan and I just forgot. And I know that you always want to come over here and I'm happy that you're over here and all that kind of stuff. So we talked for a little bit, everything. I ended up buying one of her shirts. But like, it was a real fun show. Like, it was probably the Miyu Colin King match I would recommend to you. I would recommend the main event because I know you like all cap Saki. I think you would have a funny reaction to knowing what that result was, given what happened at Stardom this year when Maya was in there. But Yeah, but yeah, like, and also there was an angle with Emmy, joining a faction, a Hill faction, and like, she was over like a god in that building. Yeah, man, it was a fun show.
That's what's up, man.
Next time they do it, I'll end up going, again, yeah, most likely.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was in Brooklyn, New York over the weekend, so went to a couple bodegas. That was pretty cool. Got some good old breakfast sandwiches. Someone attempted to sell me the gas, and I don't mean the steroids. Had to turn them down because obviously, you know, I'll be traveling soon. Can't really bring that with you, and it's not my bag, so per se. But yeah, freaking the Sunday. It was just a wild and crazy day, which featured, of all things, my mom getting a table dropped on her foot and it's swelling up the size of like a football, like immediately. And my mom, the absolute G that she is, completely no sells it. No scream, no tears, no nothing. Just all day, just stone face, just like, you need anything, Ma? Like, just over and over, just bugging her. Probably just annoying her at this point. How can I help you? Oh, I'm fine. And I'm just like, what were you made of? Like, and then, you know, my sister running around and she's trying to get everything organized, and I'm trying to do my best to help her. But, you know, a couple things that ended up falling through that, you know, once she paid for something, she expected something to be there from the vendors, was not there. One of the replacement things was something that broke on my mom's foot because it was faulty equipment. Wow. My sister's, I'm a pretty laid back guy. My sister's the total opposite of me. And there was a situation with the security downstairs. I was holding her back, then she was holding me back, and then like I almost had to fight this guy that was probably, I don't know, 6'5", a smooth 300. Like it
sounds like
you're
filling out a police. Sounds like you're filling out a police description. 6'5", 300 pounds.
Yeah, it but he was and it was like, you know, he was, you know, it was my sister yelling. There was a lot of loud, you know, hostility there, and, you know, eye to eye squaring up. And it was just like, luckily cooler heads prevailed, because like, while I would have done it, I would have done the fight. Like, like, I don't know how it would have worked. Yeah. But
and it's like I'm walking to it and I don't feel confident. Yeah, those stink.
Yeah, I was like, well, you know, like if he swings on my sister, I'm gonna have to do it. Like, but like, I'm leaving here with something. Like, that's all I can promise. I'm leaving here with something.
Were y'all outside when this happened? Where were y'all?
Yeah,
y'all just got hope one of them undercovers is around every block is in pursuit. Hey, bring it up. Oh, okay, thank you. Got to treat like it's an NBA game where, like, you know, you throw the first punch or whatever else, you just try to hold on until they can break it up.
Yeah, but luckily, like, we ended up getting it settled. You know, whatever, and, you know, guy ended up apologizing to my sister. It was a lot more peaceful after that.
See, now, they must have known that y'all weren't actually from New York, because, like, normally when someone apologizes in New York, they'd be like, "Yeah, now suck my dick." Like, you know, them rude motherfuckers, them assholes.
Yeah, man. It was so dirty there, and it was so like, I was going around New York. I was like, so yo,
dirty there. Like, it was
so dirty, and it was like the traffic is just overwhelming. All the houses are so close to each other. Because normally, like, if you're in New York, you're like in Times Square, you're whatever. You're
like row homes.
Yeah. Okay. So I was in Brooklyn the whole time. So like, Brooklyn, like, there are different areas, whatever, right?
Yeah, they're busy, but they mostly look like neighborhoods. Yeah.
But some of the stuff was like, yo, people are double parked down these narrow ass streets, and then the bike lanes are in them. I was like, I would never want to live here or drive here ever. Like, it would just be hell trying to park at all times. Hell trying to commute places like by car. I would have a bike if I lived in New York. Absolutely.
You know, like what I forgot what percentage, but like there's a significant percentage that don't have vehicles. Because what's the point? You know, there's some people don't even know how to drive. Never learned how to drive. What's the point? I live here.
Yep.
Public transit is pretty good, except for when it's not.
Right. Luckily, my mom, though, if you guys were wondering about her, she ended up no broken bones, negative on the X-rays, but that was like.
Tell me what them sucking niggas gave her for the pain and swelling. I remember you told me this morning. I was like, "Are you serious?"
Shout out to the doctor, super nice and all that, right? But like once they kind of determined she didn't have no broken bones, they were like, "Yeah, we got this here Tylenol for you," and I'm like, "Tylenol." You handle this a lot more politely than I did when I heard that. When I was like, "Hey man, if you fuck niggas, don't give Miss Janet some something for her pain and stop playing." Like they gave her a doctor's note to give her some excused days from work and all that, but it was like, no man, like we need to like the Tylenol 3 if at least
okay.
See?
The 3 is
didn't even give her the Tylenol.
The 3 is that real. The 3 is that real.
They gave me the Tylenol 3s for the wisdom teeth.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. You gotta like drop an ID to get the Tylenol 3.
Yeah. So yeah, but then my mom, she flew home the next day and she's chilling at the crib now. Like, is she amazing.
How's her mobility? Is she fine? Like, can she walk around on it, or is it like
she can walk?
Okay.
She can walk, but she's just walking slower or whatever. But she's a G. Like, I don't like. Shout out to her. But yeah, rest of the baby shower went well, and a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, it was a lot, man. It was an up and down day. Like, and there was even more that I can't even really get into here. But yeah, love my whole family. It was good to see them all. Between my mom, my grandma, my older sister, Kiki, and it was a fun time. And I love the sandwiches at the corner stores. So, you ain't
going to what's it called? And get you one of them custom made joints. It's just like ridiculous. I mean, you make get you a chopped cheese with a honey bun.
Nah, I ain't do that.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Like on
I've
TikTok,
never seen a chopped cheese and a honey bun,
bro. They be like, what's it called? The Aki way. Like they have buddy that runs a bodega. Like he'll hook up whatever. Like you buy whatever out the store, and he'll put it on the grill.
That's funny as
fuck. And like, so the other day they had Sauce Gardner, one of the New York Jets. Like he had crushed hot Cheetos and all types of weird shit put together for a sandwich. I was like, bro, like you finna blow your whole asshole out with that one, bro. Ain't no way.
Blow it out your ass. Like ludicrous.
Yeah. So I was like, but like that ain't the first one I seen crazy. Like when Mikal Bridges got traded last season, like one of the first things he did was go to their bodega and he hooked him up with some ridiculous sandwich. And it's like, it's always something that was like, bro, I wouldn't imagine trying to eat that. Like, why? Like, this is like troll cuisine on IG or TikTok.
Is sick.
Yeah,
bro, it's so funny. Like, and I'm way too nice to live in New York. Like, saying thank you was like this foreign like thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, I would tell the guy thank you at the counter, and he would just like look at me mystified, like, what do you mean thank you? Like,
I expect to be like, you ain't from around here, are you?
Yeah. I was trying to do my best to keep my talking minimum. I don't want nobody to notice me out here. I'm straight,
Yeah.
But yeah, ended up flying home yesterday. And back to the A. So, but last week, Dynamite and as well as NXT were on Tuesday. NXT and AEW had the ratings war. NXT was victorious. It wasn't particularly close. I believe
not in overall viewers. No,
not in overall viewers. I believe the NXT show was like 917 or something like that to like maybe 609. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. Mm-hmm. In the demo, NXT did win 0.30 to 0.26. I was kind of shocked at this. I thought AEW would somehow like get the win, but
I did too. But I do remember, Meltzer talking about this, like, the counterintuitive stuff as far as like the rating is different when like the time will change for New Year's, that kind of stuff, or not for for daylight savings time. Like the number one hour for Raw would be like the 9 o'clock hour as opposed to the 8 o'clock hour and stuff. So, one of the counterintuitive things he pointed out over the years is that like when like old legends come back, the numbers that like they bring in are not like the older crowd that the wrestlers, you know, grew to popularity with. Is actually like the youngsters want to see what the hype was about with the legend. So I think that some of that was Cena and Undertaker, possibly. But yeah, I was surprised too, as, you know, with the number they beat them in the demo. Obviously, I thought there was a chance they were going to beat them with NXT was going to beat them overall viewers. They beat their ass. I am surprised that it's not so much that NXT did so well as much as like I'm surprised that AEW did so poorly with a show that had that had stuff on that you would care about, and was done well and put together well. And I was just surprised by that. I mean, I will file this away in the you know, the Copeland ain't no damn draw folder that we've had since 2020. But yeah.
I don't wonder about that strategy though. Like there were a couple of things like in the execution of the show that maybe like after the first match you're checked out on, because you can pretty much predict the finish to Hangman and Jay White after you watch Swerve and Danielson.
I mean, well,
like,
I did.
I think all of us in the group chat did, and it was like, you know, this was like some classic like TV booking, like, you know, both guys you know, lead to the finishes and ultimately giving Copeland a main event spot there. When you're going against
the AEW main event spot on Dynamite has always been,
you know, sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't.
It's only a good sign when you do well. When it don't do well, it don't mean nothing.
Yeah. Like, building the entire show around him with that particular style of match that he did. And it was just like, all right, this, you know, you're going against WWE with the ultimate WWE lifer essentially there. And it's like the alternative, like, and then you wonder, like, no MJF in the match, no Elite to be found besides Hangman around. And it's like, was this some 4D shit? Like, oh, just take us off this week, or like, were these days scheduled off in advance? Like what was this?
From the Elite, I would say probably not, for the part where it's like you go through it historically over and over and over. They talked about how, like, if there was no AEW, they'd be in WWE right now. They talked or Omega particularly talked politely about like the recruiting job that Triple H did to try to bring them to WWE. They talked about when their contracts running up, how like they legitimately thought about like potentially leaving to go again or to go to WWE. That time around, they end up re-signing, of course. You've seen Kenny Omega be polite, you know, people try to do the thing and try to get him into some stuff with Roman Reigns. He's like, nah, man, that dude can wrestle. You know, I think we have some great matches. I think we do something great if we ever, you know, linked up or whatever else. I keep feeling like, you know, obviously there's just words or whatever else. Obviously they've never gone over there, but like, I feel like they don't give a flying fuck about this WWE AEW thing. But you had Cody around, you had CM Punk around, you have Tony Khan, and they're all trying to rally the base. And like, you don't see them doing that. Like, what do you, like, I'm sure there are maybe an example here and there and few and far between or whatever else, but like, comparatively speaking to the people that are like the rabble rousers for the pro AEW crowd, like, one of them is in WWE right now. The other one tried to get in WWE, and then the other one is running the promotion. So it ain't the Elite. So I don't think they give a fuck about that stuff, especially when like they repeatedly, and let Cody Rhodes promo tell you, I don't need to see the Young Bucks beat the developmental guys again. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I don't know. It was interesting. Like just thinking about, you know, because like I think we both said like this one-off ratings week didn't really matter. It didn't matter to WWE a lot because, you know, perception. It becomes reality, and they are trying to. They've been loading up NXT all year, but they wanted this one badly. How many of them do they bring? How many shows did they bring the Undertaker to? How many shows of NXT have they ever brought John Cena to?
Yeah, I mean, you would think that like if you're gonna get the Undertaker to come in to do anything, you'd be like maybe do that on SmackDown, but maybe they were like, "Oh, we're leaving SmackDown anyway because they don't want us no more." So let's what's the point?
There's that.
Yeah.
I think it was interesting to see what TK picked, and I hope he's not discouraged by picking largely strong wrestling to lead with rather than all the goofy stuff.
Well, to be fair, that Adam Cole segment was the highest rated thing this week on that show. So we can't just necessarily say like he was out here coming guns a-blazing. He was out here trying to give us, a pay-per-view for free. Like,
I think they went with strong matches.
I do too.
They didn't go with like.
I don't think. What I'm saying is, I don't think
they didn't go crazy.
Right. What I'm saying is, I don't feel like they went too far out of character from what their show normally is.
Correct.
Yeah. Or has been of the last like 2 months.
But yeah, like NXT got the win, and this sent Tony Khan into
spiraling
hysterics.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
So that some real sore winner shit. Like, this man has a record similar to Shuri and Stardom against WWE. It's something like he's
like 75-2.
He just got the 2 just now, and he couldn't take it. I was like, bro, this is charged to the game. Look at the scoreboard.
So I don't have a problem with anything Tony Khan actually did except one tweet.
The Undertaker Cena one?
The Undertaker Cena one. I don't like that one, and I'll tell you why I don't like that one. Because
they still beat your guys.
Correct. They beat your guys, and also leave the wrestlers out of it.
That's true.
Because it's like, and I talk to people in wrestling about it.
What happens when the dead man becomes all elite?
You stupid. But they're always there.
Don't make that you stupid Starcast, nigga.
Look, there is that possibility. Like, you never know. Like, what if Cena became available or something like that, right?
And that would be real tough. It'd be like John Cena's all elite. Wait, you can't use that. That's his actual name. That's his actual name.
Like, I think that you should largely, if you're an executive, keep it to the executive. Bang on Nick Khan all day. Basically call him this soulless, outsider or whatever. Call Vince McMahon a rapist.
He did plenty of that.
Look, stick to that or whatever.
Yeah.
And, go
stick
at Triple H. Go at Triple H. Go at Shawn Michaels. Stay to that. Like, but once you start bringing the wrestlers in, I think that's kind of a low blow because it's like, all right, what if someone was trying to call your wrestlers out? Now, I think he would obviously defend his wrestlers, but why even?
But the thing is,
that? It seems like such a low blow.
Right, but the thing is, he's not understanding or lacking the self-awareness, realizing like once you do that, like you would defend your people. So like once you do that, you like if they call down the thunder upon you, you have nothing. You deserved it. You've earned it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I didn't like, and it was like stick call him a rapist, and I saw the new defense for this thing was
he's annoying.
No, what we're saying about Tony Khan, they were saying he doesn't actually care about the women. That was
when you tweet that, you know what that means? You don't either.
Look, yeah, I was going to say, who really didn't care about the women? Vince McMahon. He didn't care about the women.
Yes. But once you tweet out, well, he doesn't really care about raising these actual concerns. It's like, well, neither do you, because why would you point something out like that, you asshole?
So this is what they're stupid doing. Tony Khan, I prefer that you just keep calling Vince McMahon a rapist because there's nothing coming back from that. There's no way you can't lose with that card.
You can't.
Like, but as soon as you drop it off to like Cena, this is less than 1 million. It's like, yo, you're immediately setting up for the mirror to be held up for the performance of your guys and the people that you got from WWE and the people that in the future are like, yo, this is a lot. Like, I don't think I think people were freaking out a tad bit on like how bad this was and what it looked like. I think they were tweets. Like, and this is not out of his character. I only didn't like one of them.
Yeah, I think he tweeted so much that it was like, I lost. Either, you move on and then he moved on to talking about like the thing with his mom and everything. It's like, he talked personal. It's like,
I forgot about
it can be personal all it wants to, but like, now you're at a part of just lashing out. And now people get to say what they want to say about you, that they felt that like, you kept it, in the strike zone before. Now you out here, you throwing at people's heads and shit in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's, I wonder how a lot of the wrestlers felt about it. Like, I think there was a lot of people talking.
They thought that shit was lame as fuck.
Hey man, put your phone away. Like just move on. Keep it. Keep it moving. Like, because there's always going to be another fight. There's always going to be.
That will definitely always be the case. There will always be another fight.
Like.
Get ready for next year. Get ready for when it happens. Well, I think it happens again in November?
It happens soon. It's going to be a Friday night. It's going to be SmackDown against like the day before Full Gear, because they're moving Collision to Friday that night. And what is Friday? SmackDown. So you already know what they're about to do. So
what is so did they just call it Collision instead of calling it Rampage, or what did they do? They just get rid of Rampage that year or that week?
I think they're doing Collision then Rampage, like right after.
Collision and then Rampage?
Right.
Instead of doing Rampage and then Collision?
Probably, yeah. It's going to be like live or something like that.
Okay. Whatever.
So, yeah, man. Yeah. If it was me, like, I would not go anywhere near the wrestlers. Keep it to the executive level. And I think it comes off a little bit better. But, I can imagine if you're... if you're Edge, right, and you wake up and you see this, you're like,
I know these people. What the fuck?
Like what are you doing, Tony? Like, it's just why?
Right.
Yeah. I think you just gotta wear it, man. Wear the L. Wear it with pride. Be like, yo, this is what it took to beat us. Like, if you come out, that'd be like, this is what it took to beat us, but I feel good about where we're at. Boom. That's
perfectly fine. But once you start saying, Undertaker and John Cena ain't no real draw, it's like, buddy. Buddy. What are we doing?
It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Them niggas just went to the fucking LA Fitness and basically doubled their viewership. What are you talking about?
Crazy, man. So moving on, it's Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame season. The votes, the ballots just opened up. You know what's going on this year. It's a big year. I did send out my Junkyard Dog column again. Got a lot of traction on it once again. So let's keep it going up. And
that's good. That's not what I was saying about. I was talking about some of the other discussions we've had.
Oh yeah. So there have been some changes for this year.
Okay.
And Dave calls it the deepest and most interesting ballot due to some of the new rules he's going to try to put in to make the process fairer. He does acknowledge that no system is going to be perfect. He basically says the new system is designed to make it so the number of votes in the category is based on the number of candidates. Previously, there would be a total limit on votes, which was 10 wrestlers and 5 others. And that was increased last year to account for all the tag teams added.
Yep.
What we're doing is having a different amount of maximum votes per category based on the number of candidates in each category.
Is that why I saw the goofy thing with like North America or modern U.S. Canada had like more people you can vote for than like Japan? And Japan was like 3 or 5 or some shit like that. And then everything else. Okay.
So he basically talked about them having there are some log jams basically in U.S. and Canada, which is probably the strongest category last year. Is even deeper now. It has Sergeant Slaughter, Junkyard Dog, Tully Blanchard, and Arn Anderson. David Carey and Kevin Von Erich moved from modern to historical, and given what would call their Hall of Fame career resume was over by 1993. So all those people are going to historical. Okay. The other strength is U.S. and Canada, current wrestlers, people that have possibly made great strides since the last time they were on the ballot, Seth Rollins and Jon Moxley, or increase their legacy arguably in the last year, which is Roman Reigns.
Right.
the maximum people who can be voted in on each category is based on one vote for 3 candidates on the ballot, stemming from the latest baseball elections, which had 28 and 30 total candidates and a 10-vote max.
Okay.
So the rules still remain. If you can get 60% of the votes from your region, you're in. If you get less than 10%, you're off, unless there's a reason based on current performance or new history that will warrant another look. If you're off, you can be put back on in 2 years if those reasons exist. There's a 15-year max on the ballot unless you get 15% of the vote. That rule has kept Sergeant Slaughter on the ballot for years, who's been a top finisher but can never cross a 60%. Other people on the clock this year are Big Daddy, Kendo Nagasaki, and Jackie Palo, all from the UK. Big Daddy, your ass is falling off the ballot, and I'm going to report to Josh Smith directly when it happens. So
I didn't know he was a Big Daddy voter or would be a Big Daddy voter. I've heard him talk about it because obviously not the drawing history or whatever else, but like people are always talking about like, yo, he was a horrible wrestler.
Question from Nith Mang: was CK taking shots at Regal with some of those tweets? Absolutely.
Yeah, the whole part when he's talking about like he's talking about like I was dealing with my mom and she was sick and whatever else, and there was tampering going on. He was talking about 2 people. One in particular was Regal.
Yep. So like there is there's a lot of candidates here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but
go through the main ones for U.S. Canada.
Yeah, I'm going to leave out the historical one. JYD, go ahead, vote it. The modern U.S. and Canada.
Or go through any notable ones that for this show for the people that, when we talk about them on the show, or we've talked about them on the show, I guess.
Yeah. So, like, the modern U.S. and Canada, the candidates are Mark and Jay Briscoe, the Young Bucks, Edge, Bill Goldberg, Matt and Jeff Hardy, Becky Lynch, Moxley, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall as a tag team. Paul Orndorff, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Trish Stratus, and Rick and Scott Steiner.
Okay. How many people you vote for on that list?
I would vote for, let's see. I would be a no on the Briscoes just because I don't have enough familiarity with them.
Fair enough.
Young Bucks, slam dunk, absolutely.
Yep.
Edge, no.
Yep.
Goldberg, yes.
I wouldn't vote for him, but he'd be in a maybe pile.
Yeah, I think I'll say yes on Goldberg. Matt and Jeff Hardy as a tag team. I'm gonna go no.
It'd be my maybe pile.
Becky Lynch, not yet, but she's making a great case.
Definitely a maybe pile, especially considering like what has happened with that division, and you look at around at like or U.S. women's, and you look at like she's one of the few bright spots we got.
Right.
Yeah.
John Moxley, absolutely. I would vote for him.
Yep. He's a lock for me.
Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. I'm gonna go no.
I'd put them in the Goldberg maybe pile.
Paul Orndorff, yes, I would go with.
Okay. I don't have an answer on Orndorff because I don't watch 80s wrestling like that.
Randy Orton, I'm in the maybe on that. He's in
my I'd vote for him eventually, but not right now.
Seth Rollins, he is a no for me.
I'd vote for him eventually, but not right now.
CM Punk, I've been thinking about this for a while. I voted for him. I would have voted for him each of the last 2 years. Actually, every single previous year. And this is hard. This is hard, man. I feel like I gotta ding him this year.
You would have voted for him for how many years has he been on the ballot?
He's been on the ballot for a while, actually.
5 years? 6 years?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the exact number of years.
All right. Well, I'd vote for him. I would have voted for him last year.
I would have voted for him last year, and I think if it was just the press conference and the fight, I would have still voted for him. I think when we're talking about like positive historical significance, like I feel like getting fired from like the only real alternative, like after more fighting, after being this cancer, like this stuff has to be accounted for at least once. And yeah, I would not feel good about like calling him a positive historical contributor.
I would
positive historical significance.
I would. Pipe bomb don't happen. AEW never happens. So you say he's tried to fuck it up or whatever else. 2 years or 4 years down the line, but and never even gets to year 1 of non-forum at being with either. So for me, that doesn't change like how I feel. Like you can say he's an asshole. I mean, he was an asshole a decade ago too. So yeah, I'd vote him in. And like, there are plenty of people that have done a lot worse in an Observer Hall of Fame than try to fight somebody and try to fight a booker. So, or whatever, try to put hands on a booker. So yeah. Or get some backroom fights. I'm sorry.
What else we got? Roman Reigns.
He was a no for me. And that was before I read that, the article. Who wrote that, by the way?
Case Lowe. Same guy that wrote the Young Bucks column.
Yeah, is it Case or Casey?
Case Lowe.
Okay, so Case Lowe, he wrote this. Roman Reigns is not an Observer Hall of Famer right now. And a lot of the stuff is things that I was like, yeah, that's the reason why I wouldn't vote for him. There are some things that I think are a bit unfair to him, to Roman Reigns in his regard to like pulling up the match, his WrestleMania things, whatever. It's like, bro, do you want to do that with Hulk Hogan? Like, it's not like that. That's not that. That doesn't make a Observer Hall of Famer. Whether or not like you the biggest show of the year, you had these great things and whatever. It is what it is. But that was a strike against him in his eyes. But like for me, it's just like, if you're going to vote for him to be in based off the strength of his last 2 years, or since 2021 or whatever else, okay. But don't you have to look at like what he was and when they were fucking him up left and right from 2014 to 2020? People aren't doing that. They're just saying like, well, he's the biggest thing in the
he's here now.
He's the biggest thing now over the last 2 years. Like, cool. What about those first 7 years when it wasn't even his fault? It was Vince McMahon fucking him up left and right. So it's like, all right, what do you got? What do you got to show for it as far as the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame, not pro wrestling, not Cauliflower Alley, the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. Like you go through their year by year voting for Flair Thez, for most outstanding, for best feud, for best on interviews, for most charismatic. You can end up in Wrestling Observer's eyes, you can almost tell the story of pro wrestling this decade without him, aside from the Shield stuff included. Yeah, you have to talk about him. Outside of that, you don't, and you can't say that about Moxley. You can't say that about even Rollins.
Yeah, I think with Roman, like, and one thing to look at is the Flair Thez award shares, which I think tells a huge story, which basically accounts for top 10 finishes, in however many years that you have to do it. Roman Reigns is number 49 all time.
Do you know who's around in that when you talk about that? Like who?
I sure do.
Can you give an example so people understand like exactly what we're talking about as far as a non-entity in these awards?
Okay, so the people that he's around, when it comes to number in the 40s here,
yeah.
Bob Sapp, and this is all time, or whatever. This is not just this decade or whatever, right? Shingo Takagi, someone who's not in the Observer Hall of Fame,
a person who literally was in Dragon Gate until 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Brock Lesnar is number 46. Yuji Nagata, number 45, and I think if you compare these people's pushes, I think Roman Reigns being number 49 all time is shambolic in that sense. And we're talking about the very top of this thing is like, you're talking about Ric Flair, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kenta Kobashi, Kazuchika Okada, Mitsuharu Misawa, Kenny Omega, John Cena, Keiji Muto,
where's Omega?
Steve Austin.
Isn't he coming up soon?
Kenny Omega's number 7 on the list.
Yeah.
Or excuse me. He's actually number 6, but the way it's listed here is like it starts on the second cell. So Roman is actually number 48. Excuse me.
Okay. Now I remember looking at that sometime last year, because we were talking about like I think it was because it made me think because last year we were talking about Okada. Okada got in last year, 2 years ago.
Last year.
Actually,
2021 he got in.
Yeah. So, so it was 2 years ago I looked at it for the first time, the award share stuff, because I'm always big into like looking at award share stuff for like so people get a proper understanding of how fucking cold Barry Bonds was, or how cold like Michael Jordan, LeBron was, like in Kareem. I will look at like MVP award share, so you can get an idea of like, it's not just that these people won this award, 4 times or 5 times or 6 times or whatever else. Is that they like, not only did they win it a certain number of times, is that like they finished top 3, top 4, top 5, top 6 a decade. Like that shows you the kind of dominance people have on display. So, so for me, like when people talk, want to talk them stuff about like, Steph may the same number of rings as LeBron. I'm like, cool, bro. Like, how many top 5 finish Steph got in MVP? How many? Oh, LeBron's finished top 2 more times than Steph's ever finished top 10. What are we? You're doing the funny, goofy thing. Oh, okay, I get it. This ain't actual conversation worth actually having. Like, let alone the part where it's like seeing him play in the finals all them times when the time when Steph was actually better than him in the final. Whatever. So, that was the thing that like I was looking at. Like, I remember saying to you, it's like, we were talking about the MVP award share back then. I was like, bro, like, this is the reason why, like, I say, like, think Okada is like, I think he's gonna be the greatest ever, or Omega is like one of the greatest ever. Is like, look at their award share, and they've only, especially someone like Omega, like, he only really got on here in like 2016.
Right.
And it's like,
it just started top 5, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, like that.
Right. And think of the era he's in when there's a Bushi around and Naito around and Ishii around and Shingo comes in at certain points. And Ospreay comes on. Like, this is a really talented fucking era. And for someone like Moxley to come out of WWE, and someone like Omega to come out of DDT, go to New Japan and start doing this, it's like, it's really impressive that it kind of like, and also Shingo just comes out of, it comes from where they were, hops into the environment and just thrives in a way at a high level compared to the rest of the world. It's like, this should be appreciated over the short amount of time that they've been here compared to someone like a Tanahashi, someone like a Naito, someone like an Okada, even given the age. Like, it's really impressive. There's like, they've already like, like they're like, they are like the Giannis's and the Jokic's. If you don't think they've been in the game long enough, they're not old money yet. It's like, no, they're already like top 25, top 20 ever. You just don't really recognize that because like, you don't like the way they wrestle, because they don't wrestle like Ric Flair or Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart.
Like, for Shingo Takagi to essentially come on to the radar in a serious Flair Thesz candidate in 2019 and already be above Roman Reigns all time,
right? While
Roman Reigns has been the top guy in WWE essentially since 2015. Like, I think that says like,
yeah,
that tells a big story, especially when Jon Moxley's number 27 above The Rock.
Right. Now, especially now look, going through all this, there is absolutely, and I'm not disagreeing with this because there is some to this. There are, like, you look at those awards or whatever else, there is a great degree of people hating his push and wanting to, in the awards, reflect their disgust for his push, right? I'm not going to disagree with any of that because it's there. However, when you go through the year-by-year stuff, when we were watching the main roster every single week, covering on this show every single week up until, like, 2019, so it ain't like we've missed... we just fell off and never watched any of this. Like, we were there watching this stuff, from the time he got the rocket strap to him in that Rumble to, his comeback for WrestleMania 35. We saw all of that week to week. And you compare that to New Japan, or you compare that to from Wrestle Kingdom 9 to Kenny Omega leaving in New Japan and starting AEW. All of that stuff, it's like, okay, so you mean so I was there for all that stuff, and we saw all the NXT takeover stuff. We're not even going to get into what else was happening in Joshi. We're not going to get into what happened in Ring of Honor. We're not going to get into what happened in WXW. We're not going to get into what happened in Mexico. You go through those year-by-year votes, and you say, what were the best 10-5 matches of 2015 through 2019 or 20? How many of those matches are you going to say, honestly, were Roman Reigns matches? You will say, okay, let's go to 14 to give you even fair. So you would say some of those Shield, a couple of those Shield Wyatt matches. Okay, cool. The first Brock Lesnar Roman match, WrestleMania 31. Cool. What else would you say in a particular year would be, you want to say,
maybe you give him a AJ Styles match.
Yeah. One of those. The Roman, the triple
but
threat
even
match.
Then, it's a 4.5 star match.
But I'm just saying, like,
there's a lot of 4.5 star matches like around the world.
Right. 4.5 star match is like a fringe match of the month contender.
Right.
Yeah. So, but if you say, okay, throw out, we cut off at 2020, but let's say at 2021. Oh, the last Daniel Bryan Roman match, the triple threat match for WrestleMania, they'll tack those on even though we're outside that criteria we even talk about. Okay. A couple of those matches should be top 10 for the year, for the year in the world, if you want to say that, right? Or at least an honorable mention. None of them shits is top 5 best matches in a particular year worldwide. Then you go through, all right, what are his best feuds in his career? Okay, Strowman, the on and off stuff with Brock, the on and off stuff with Rollins, Shield versus Wyatt. They only lasted for like 3 fucking weeks because they decided they wanted to have them beat the hell out of Kane and the New Age Outlaws instead of having that fucking match at WrestleMania 30, dumbasses. And there's something I'm missing.
Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso.
Legit or actual one. Like, AJ Styles, right?
Zayn.
Let's say AJ. Throw that on there, right? And that was only 2 matches, I believe. So, all right. You want to compare that to like the best stuff we saw around the world? Like he was wrestling Samoa Joe in the summer 2018. And then he had the match with the 4-way with Strowman and Joe and Lesnar. All right, you want to compare that to stuff like in 2018, like, you know, Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. Do you want to compare that to stuff like Kota Ibushi versus Tetsuya Naito? You know what I'm saying? Do you want to compare that to any of the stuff you saw in the B Block in 2018 G1?
Ibushi, Omega versus Ibushi.
Right. It's like, nah, man, these things don't compare. And move back. Do you want to compare that? And you say you're always talking about this fucking Japanese wrestling, James. Okay. Do you want to compare it to Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas or Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa from 2018?
Not allowed, James. That's that NXT wrestling.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about any of the things Ricochet was doing in 2018? You'd be like, well, that don't count. It's the same fucking promotion. It's not even we're not even talking about like a different country or a different style. We're talking about WWE versus WWE. So like, and you can do that literally year to year to year in Roman's career from 2014 through 2020 until he came back. Was that SummerSlam 2020, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do that whole thing. So it's like cool.
I think we should mention this.
Yeah.
It's not that we're being unnecessarily hard on Roman. We have these questions about Roman Reigns that we have for other people, because I don't feel like all people's cases aren't the same.
Right.
So I feel like Reigns presents, like when you look at him, it's like, all right, if you were pushed this hard, right? If you were pushed this, like, basically they would not like change from the plan, anything. I better be getting something out of this. Like, as a fan, what do I get out of this? Like, what do we see? Like, all right, yeah, y'all just like the amount of WrestleMania main events. Like, I don't care. They pick people for that shit. Like, like what does your resume say? Like, what does your performance say? Mm-hmm. Like, you know.
And I'm trying to be fair to him. Is like, look, they set him up for tele L's all throughout that whole 7-year run, but the production slash like the quality is what it is. Like, I understand that they set him for these L's. Therefore, I'm not holding it against him when I'm not voting for him. This is Vince McMahon's fucking fault for fucking this guy up. Like, don't get it twisted or misconstrued. Like, he's not an Observer Hall of Famer. That has little to do with Roman Reigns, Joe Anoa'i. It has to do with Vince and Kenny McMahon fucking this guy up all them years. So like, I'm just looking at him, I'm like, oh, bro, the promos, the stuff they had to do at the beginning to fuck him up, the part where they brought Daniel Bryan back fucked him up, the part where they moved, they were about to make Cena and Bryan the mid card champions or the tertiary champions, whatever you call them, so he could be the top guy or whatever else. Like all of that stuff,
like a year too early,
right? All that injury stuff, and then there's also like another part when they talk about like his superstar status. Like, all right, let's go back to when John Cena basically more or less hung it up in 2018, and you want to go into your Google search history, all right, and go through that and check the popularity of WWE from 2018 when John Cena hung that shit the fuck up until like the last 2 years. It went fucking down. He was the guy on top. That's Vince's fault, but like that doesn't mean because Vince fucked up, I'm going to make him an Observer Hall of Famer. It's a different criteria. It's not a WWE Hall of Fame. It's not a Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. It's a nerds, dork analytics Hall of Fame, historian Hall of Fame. Like Sting took forever for Sting to get in. Luger ain't in. Kind of the same problem. Guys that look and it can be carried and can be superstars to a generation of people that like don't know no better necessarily or have a short reference of what they're looking at, but like over and over, people around them fuck them up. I don't hold it against Sting that Sting wasn't Observer Hall of Fame for years when he should have been because, you know, Hogan said that's not gonna work for me, brother, and motherfucker fucked the finish over its hand. No, they fucked it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. There's plenty of guys, like Roman's not the first guy and won't be the last guy that gets looked at and says, we're pushing this guy no matter what, and then it doesn't work the way they expect it to. It finally did, thank God. But what we've gotten has been these last 2 years and change, but doesn't mean that like these years before never happened. They did. They fucking count too.
They count. And I think it's quite lazy to hand wave it and say he's the biggest guy in the business right now. I'm like, all right. Like, you know, like what if this shit like stops working? Like, like what if people decide they open their eyes one day, James, and they realize, hey man, just like at SummerSlam this year, like that shit ain't work. Like the money's the money.
Like the Jay shit.
Yeah, the Jey Uso shit.
That's another part about it is like they talk about like, well, look how well they've done the last, you know, year and change. Like, yeah, because he's been presented as a top guy for so long. And then two fucking guys that were gigantic heroes came on the scene that looked like they could topple the guy, and people were interested in seeing him being toppled. That's how pro wrestling has always worked. And normally those guys get the belt and then you run with them for a certain amount of time. They didn't do none of that.
This is worse than Hollywood Hogan. At least Hogan lost the shit. Like,
well,
what the fuck?
For sure.
Yeah.
But my point for sure remains like Roman got this shit to a certain level. There was people that were actual threats and people saw as could be threats to actually do it, like whether it was Sammy or Cody, and it took the fuck off. That would be, I would say that is a feather in the cap to Roman Reigns that like he could be presented at this level and people buy him to where like they want to see him get beat so badly they're willing to invest in that, right? But once you beat the challengers, it goes right back down into the shits, and then you get it with the Jey Uso shit, and now Jay's not even on the same fucking shelf. So like you gotta be so like there's credit to be given to Roman for this last year and a half, absolutely.
Like I'm still,
but I'm not gonna pretend like he's John fucking Cena. I'm not doing it.
Like I'm not saying I'm committed to voting no forever on him, right?
Same.
Like I think it would take an act of God for me to vote for Seth Rollins, right? But
and I personally think, and I've said this to you, I think Seth's case is a lot better than Roman's. Mm-hmm. A lot better. Because the three criteria is normally like is influence on the business and the wrestlers, work rate, and then program / talking, all the other stuff. And it's like historically, Roman or Seth has the better matches. Consistently has the better matches, more memorable matches, and he has the better feuds historically. So I'm like, I understand that one was pushed at the as to be the A guy, and one was going to be like Roman is Cena is meant to be Cena, and Seth is meant to be Orton. But it's like, this is like if Orton was actually like gave a fuck and was good all the goddamn time to a certain level, you know. So it's like I look at Seth and like I understand he's corny, he's a dork, and a lot of people do not like him behind the scenes, and he got a whole, the established guy said he's got to carry the torch for him, or whatever else, or not talk bad on him, or whatever else. It is what it is. But, like, the dude has a body of work that is impressive for a WWE in-ring talent. Is he Shawn Michaels? Fuck no. Is he Bret Hart? Fuck no. Is he Johnny Gargano? Fuck no. Is he Gunther Walter? Fuck no. Nah, I'm not saying that. But, like, you look at his decade, it's pretty impressive given, you know, what the actual top cream of the crop is in ring in WWE historically is. He is one of the best ever. Does he have match of the year contenders? No, but he keeps going out there and keep giving you those 3 3/4 to 3 to 4 1/4, like clockwork, barring something really stupid happening to stop him from doing it. So yeah, I would vote for. I'd be more likely to vote for him than Roman at this point. But they're not no's forever for me. Something can change.
Yeah, I would be willing to review Roman in the future, depending on how this all ends up. Like with this huge title reign, we can look back at it and historically contextualize it. Yeah, I think he's still making his case personally. Yeah. Like, and I know people will be like, start grabbing their pearls and think we're insane and everything, but nah, man. Like, there was a lot of failure that happened on that guy's watch. Yep.
Also.
And I don't think we should just wash it away.
Right.
At the first sign of like, oh, we can throw our pom poms now.
Right. Like he's kind of like the first round draft pick that's basically showed up on a different team and now he's playing like a Pro Bowler. And it's like, we supposed to pretend like the first few years didn't happen, right? It's like, come on now, those happen. So also another part about the Jeslo column, the part that I thought was unfair to him in the wrong way. Like, he was talking about like the influence on the business and saying like, if this the bloodline shit is not a good influence because look at what's happening to my precious AEW, and AEW is now going the way of the storytelling MJF, Adam Cole, soap opera of bromance and the whodunit thing. And I'm like, that's not a good point for you, seeing that that's their highest rated segments now. I know you don't like it. I don't like it. However, it's doing the best business for them. So to say that like it's a negative while it's actually in fact financially a positive for them actually is like you're too caught in the trees to get off your spew and venom about Roman Reigns. Sorry. But there were parts that I was like, yep, and other parts were like no in that column. And that one was like, nah, man, you should have left that whole 2 paragraphs out or 3 paragraphs, whatever it was, out.
Got Trish Stratus. No. And Rick and Scott Steiner as a tag team, I'd be willing to consider it.
All those most of those tag teams, I would actually consider it as tag teams, like the Nash and Hall, the them. There was what was the other team? The Hardys. I would consider them. But like maybe it's the thing where like I'm not judging them as a tag team act compared to the way that the standard I judge singles acts. And that I don't know if that's unfair or not. I don't know what historical legacy is for Hall of Fame tag teams in the Observer newsletter to be like.
I think I'll just be
like,
safe.
Not everybody's going to be Holy Demon Army. Not everybody's going to be like, Manami Toyota and Toshi Yamada, right? So yeah,
I'm gonna stay safe and just vote for the Bucks this year and worry about the other tag teams another time.
That's what I would
with my non-existent vote.
Right.
Japan has a 3 vote maximum here, so the candidates are the Beauty Pair, Shima, Satoshi Kojima, and Tenzan as a tag team, Yoshiaki Fujiwara, Hayabusa, Antonio Inoki, and Seiki Sakaguchi, Tomohiro Ishii, Meiko Satomura, Shingo Takagi, and Manami Toyota and Toshio Yamada as a tag team. No, I think I'm going with Tomohiro Ishii, Shingo Takagi, and Shima.
I don't know how to vote on that one. Because I'm favoring the tag teams more as far as historical.
Inoki is on as a tag.
Right.
Nith Mang.
Yeah. I have a hard time not voting for Beauty Pair immediately, just because of their historical significance and also the amount of butts they put in seats. So that but like I can't tell you how good like Maki Ueda or Jackie Sato worst wrestlers. I can't tell you. Can't speak on it. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, and that one's gonna be tough because like 3 is that's really hard to. That's gonna be a lot of people.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's
like,
real tough.
Like they let Naito in now, and it's almost like, all right, I think it's going to be a couple years before some new like people get on.
Yeah.
So it's like this is the time Tomohiro Ishii try to run to the podium, run to the podium.
What is his
Ishii.
percentage look like last year?
I think he was in the 40s, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look.
That sounds more optimistic than I was expecting.
Yeah,
I was expecting something like he's in the 30s or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just go with Shima. I'll say why, and I think when we talk about influence,
yep.
I find it hard to point to many more influential guys and historically significant guys than Shima, with all the people that he's kind of influenced in his career, and like the style and the trios, and basically like. I think when we talk about people's styles winning, like you gotta name Shima there.
Yeah.
And with Ishii and Shingo,
they're two of the greatest wrestlers in ring performers I've ever seen in my life.
Just like when Dave says, when someone is so strong in one category, it's overwhelming. These guys are the walking definitions of it.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah,
that's
like I've said this to you before. I think Ishii might be the greatest mid card in ring performer ever. Like, it's not a person that gets main events. This person is so you got 13, 12, 10 minutes to go out there, and he's giving you some of the greatest matches you've ever seen in 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
Yeah, so there's some other categories, but that was pretty much
look, I'm not gonna pretend to know what the fuck's going on in the UK. Not finna
or Mexico. I don't really know too much on that side. So
nope. If I know their name, they should be on. That's kind of how it goes. If I know their name, they should be in.
There's a non.
What do you mean Blue Panther ain't in?
Run it up. What the fuck is Negro Casas? Like,
I better see 1, 2, 3, and all 4 of them Vianos in that motherfucker. Oh man!
What do you mean Conan ain't there? What's going on?
You want to talk about a draw? What about K-Dog? Influence? That motherfucker said, hey, that little kid over there, put him in. That kid's gonna be Rey Mysterio Jr. That's influence. He changed the whole trajectory of the sport.
Mil Mascaras, he got to be in there.
You'd be like, bro, you could be like, hey, Conan is a branch Ricky for size in wrestling.
Wow. Oh man. Oh yeah, but we'll wrap it up here. Yeah, that's great.
This segment turned out so much better than I was expecting it. It really did.
Yeah, so there's a lot else to get to. So yesterday actually, big happy birthday goes out to Kenny Omega, turned 40 years old yesterday. Oh, wow. So I became
that's the real reason why we do the show. You was out there celebrating.
Oh man, I celebrating from asleep. I was I was out of there, but yeah, Kenny Omega turned 40 years old yesterday. This is like I was basically saying Kenny Omega became my favorite wrestler in between the semifinals of the 2016 G1 and the finals. Okay. And when you think about other wrestlers that, around their age 40 year, like you're talking about people like Ric Flair in 89. There was AJ Styles, I think, about 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. What was in his age 40 year. Hiroshi Tanahashi was that around like 2017. I want to say Bret Hart, 1997, Brewhaven. That's a good one. And it's like, all right, we've seen enough of their career to really get like, you know, a picture of who this wrestler was. And I don't know exactly what it'll be after they turn 40, but my fucking God, like, can we like just appreciate what the hell this guy has given to us? Like, it's been about a, you know, I started watching New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 9, as James, you know, brought up earlier. And that was the first time I ever watched Kenny Omega. And he was a junior heavyweight champion, taking on, I believe it was Taguchi. And I was like, yo, they move so fast. Like, I thought, like, you know, the athleticism and the change of direction and everything like that. I was like, I'm going to keep my eye on that Kenny Omega guy, because he's like got, like, I had heard like some of the stuff like with Talk Is Jericho when they were talking about him, and
right.
And I was like, yo,
it was crazy
raw.
when we were talking, you know, because we're talking about the one with Neville and Sami Zayn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were talking about, like, there's this guy that wrestled a blow-up doll, and you're trying like, oh, that's fucking Kota. And you find it years later, like, oh, that's Ibushi.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I just saw him have a match with Nakamura. I didn't even realize that was him. Okay. No wonder he's incredible. He can wrestle a blow-up doll and have a great match.
Right. So, like, when I from there I started following him.
Omega and starting with the 9-year-old kid.
Yep, can't forget that. I think that match, I don't know if I've like ever like given my like full thoughts on that. Why not now? I think it is,
but not on air. I think. Yeah.
Like, I think that it is one of the most quintessential demonstrations of like what pro wrestling is. It's like danger. Like, look, it looks like some danger is about to happen. You're wondering, like, what is this? And then ultimately, like, you're protecting the opponent. There's an element of drama to it. There's a element of something you can't believe happening. And then there's, like, just this
great comedy.
Is this something you can't turn away from? Like, every time it comes up on my feed somewhere, it's a 3-minute video. I watch it every time. And it's just awesome. And then, you know, from there, just, you know, I was fortunate to, you know, be watching the G1 live as all this stuff was happening, and remember winning the G1, and then of course, you know, the feud with Okada, and it was just like one of the most defining wrestlers like of my lifetime is this guy, and it's amazing kind of the level that he has gone from unappreciated to, I think, appreciated to a certain level. And then there's always something weird with him, like where people just don't like him somewhere, but like everything this guy does, like in these interviews, this guy comes off as like the most humble kind of guy. Like I think he worked a lot of people earlier in his career, like with the stuff where
he was actually a dick. He was actually a heel.
Yes. Yeah. Like where he was like, yeah, man, all you dudes in Orlando need to fucking take notes. Like, you know, like all that stuff he used to say, like after those G1 press conferences, the backstage where they got all the beer lined up that he was not drinking.
Oh, by the way, that's a Pearl beer.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Really.
So for New Year's when I was in Japan, like I got a what do you call it? A Strong Zero.
Uh-huh.
I got 2 Strong Zeros, and I also got a Sapporo. I tried that Sapporo. I was like, nah, this ain't for me.
Not it.
This ain't for me.
To the Zima.
I'm sure it's for. I didn't even see the Zima. Like I bet it. Like I was like, I'm sure it's for somebody because it's damn sure popular, but it ain't for me. But the Strong Zero, I was looking into actually like trying to order some of that because they do ship it over here or whatever. But I was thinking that for FOH, but you know, I think FOH my drink is going to be some Jack and Pepsi. I think that's what's going to be my for this year. But yeah. Anyway, back to what you were saying with the nasty beer and Omega.
But yeah, like the beer was sitting there, and you know he was working these people, and then like a lot of people like held on to that stuff. Like,
Donovan Dickhead, that was another one.
Yeah, like he, you know, and is he 100% innocent in that stuff? No, because like obviously this guy is like phenomenal wrestler. He's gonna toot his own horn a little bit, but like when we're talking about like this man being harassed at random during these WWE pay-per-views on Twitter by people, a lot of that stuff is stopped kind of now, but there was like there's a period they just treat this guy crazy. Of course, the Cornette army that has always chastised him, and and the
homophobes.
The homophobes, the pure elitists, the people that were upset that he jumped the line in New Japan.
The Naito fans.
And it's just like, I think this guy has had just one of the most phenomenal careers, and a lot of this stuff like popped off like a little bit later than you would like. This is largely like a 7-year period between his age 33 year and now he's turning 40. And it's just like, it's a testament, I think, to someone like for example, like Swerve's around that age now. Swerve's like 33 years old. Yeah. And then it's like, imagine what his next 7 years look like.
Right.
Like, and then, Kenny, back to him. Okay.
I would say what's actually more interesting is like, think of like what we saw, think of what I thought of Swerve in 2019 when I first saw him. And think of, him going through NXT and then where he's at now. And it's like, my opinion of him as far as his level of working ability and like in the ring has not changed. I've thought the things that he's doing in the ring is the things I thought he was able to do and was actually capable of in 2019. Now imagine if you're Kenny Omega and you were wrestling them Kota Ibushi matches in Shinkiba first ring in the early 2010s and shit, and you're out here taking Hurricane Rana off the top rope to the fucking mat on the floor, right? And you finally get your shot in 2016 to go run it, and then you go out there and you reel this off. It's like, I don't give a damn how humble he comes off on screen. That's a dude that has to be aware of or confident in his abilities to, and to be like, yeah, this is happening. I'm glad it's finally happening. I was this good X number of years ago. My body wasn't as broken up as it is now. I've had to come up with all these different ways to make work around. Like when you talk about that story about like when Okada dropped on him with that drop kick and now he had the vertigo. Yeah. He's had vertigo ever since then until, the recent time off. It's like, you mean to tell me he's had, the two best matches I've ever seen in my life with fucking vertigo? What?
Like, I can say nothing else, but the guy's a cyborg. Right. Aside from that,
I'm sorry. I forgot the 2017 G1 final. The 3 best matches I've ever seen in my life are all Kenny Omega involved in them.
It's
all of Vertigo.
Vertigo Kenny. Yeah. Imagine if he didn't have vertigo.
Right.
Oh fuck. But yeah, man, just like seeing that 7-year period in his career now, and it's pretty interesting now. Like the guy still goes out there this year. I think he's got like in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, he's got at least like 5 or 6 over 5-star or above matches this year or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, man, like this, like, and people always want more from this guy. They always want more, and one day he's going to reach back. Why can't you wrestle
every week?
One day he's going to reach back, and it's not going to be there. But today is not that day. Is the schedule going to be cut down a little bit? Yeah, it started.
It kind of already has. Yeah,
like the schedule is cut down, but damn, like this nigga look at the work this nigga's giving us, right. And if you can look.
It's almost like when we talk about like like when we talk about like Chris Paul or LeBron, he's like, damn bro, 8 minutes they only playing like 31 minutes a game now or whatever else. Or more particular Chris, it's like, yeah, but you remember when he was playing 33? You remember when he was playing 36? How ridiculous that we like. I understand they're old. Like time comes for everyone. Time comes for everyone. Still appreciate the part where like this person can't really work with that workload that he used to. But like in limited time, he can still be about like 95% facsimile of what he was when he was incredible. And that's still incredible. So like appreciate that before it's all gone and zapped.
Yeah. So big happy birthday goes out to Big Kenny. 40 and him and Ibushi both 40 now. Tetsuya Naito turned 40 earlier this year. Like these are the guys like that defined like this last like Okada's 35 I think now or 36 he's about to be. Danielson 42 and like these are the and I gotta say I'm not necessarily embracing the early 30s wrestler, as many of them right now, right? So, you know, like people talk, like there are guys that I like that I think are great. Like, you know, there's three in particular I'm thinking of that I like. You know, is Hangman, Swerve, and Ospreay, right?
Mm-hmm.
After that is like, yo, I'd like to see some more people get in this class that can basically become the new guys that are gonna basically dominate their 30s. Essentially,
how old's Gunther?
I think he's 35, maybe 36.
Okay.
And you know, just appreciate these guys because, like, you know, whether it's age, injury, whatever, the Bucks are getting older like that. I think Matt Jackson's 38, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, you know, FTR, those guys are, I think, around 37, 38. So these dudes have put in a lot of years, like, doing this shit, and, like, it's just amazing. Like, honestly, some of the stuff they've done, and, you know, I appreciate them. And, yeah, you know, let's move the game forward, but also acknowledge the game that the tape that these niggas got.
Right. Like, we talk about this all the time. Like, you know, there are people.
Takeshita's another guy I like.
Yeah, but he's younger than even them. But like we talked about, like, you know, we talk about like our favorite. You know, now that we're older than the NBA superstars, the average NBA superstar. Like, we talk about, like, all right, now that we, you know, it's different than, like, the thing of you're looking up to these people as far as, like, you know, motivation for whatever in life. Like, you know, if you're a football player, if you're a basketball player in high school or whatever else, you kind of find these people to be, like, motivational, you know, driving factors in your life, to where, like, now it's like you're past that stage of your life and you just here for entertainment and stuff. And it's like, yeah, man, like, you know, it's different. It's different now that, like, you know, these people are, you know, the people that we're, you know, that are like the old guard are, like, you know, they're wrapping up and you're looking for, like, the new thing. And it's like, it's going to be different. It's going to be different, but different ain't exactly, doesn't necessarily mean worse or anything. It just means different. And, like you mentioned, like, I think for me, luckily, like, I don't know where I'd be without Joshi, bro. As far as, like, you know, the same people you mentioned, the same people I enjoy, but, like, if there weren't, like, Utamis and Shuris and Tams and Mayus and Julias around and Nazumi and everything, I'd be like, I don't really have that kind of attachment, where it's like emotional attachment that I used to have to these guys. Obviously, like, I've that whole run was like, it just changed my mind of what I thought wrestling could even be. From when I, when we got back into it in 2011 roughly. And I appreciate it so much for that, but like, it's time comes for everybody. And it's like, so what's going to keep me? And it's like, I just landed into the Joshi thing, and it's like, this is what's going to keep me in, kind of help subsidize some of my stuff when, like, there's going to be less men wrestlers that I like because, like, I'm too old for some of this stupid shit. So, I just try to figure out how to keep this show going and how to keep, like, us talking about wrestling going, like, as far as, like, going to the future. Cause, like, you talked about it last year with the title scenes, the men's title scenes worldwide, and it's like, and then you showed me that cage match thing of everyone's match guys from, like, Sonata and then Roman and then MJF, and it's like, yeah, I mean, and even a match that, like, are, have the highest grades on the things, are matches that, like, we don't necessarily fuck with the way that, like, other fans do. So it's like, they're doing well, obviously, some of them, but, like, they're not doing what I want them to do necessarily. And, like, at this point, with this stage, you get as much wrestling around, as much content around, it's like, it's selfish to be like, what are you going to do for me personally? But it's like, can you do more things that I would enjoy?
Can you do something for me?
Yeah.
Man, do you want to review this title Tuesday? Oh, there's one more thing we got to definitely talk about. There was a match that's announced for next week.
Oh, okay.
Mystico versus Rocky Romero. Eye-raising for a couple of reasons. One, what the fuck is Mystico doing in All Elite Wrestling? Two, CMLL and AEW are making joint statements about each other online. Three, Conan, what the fuck is going on? Have you been kicked to the curb, my brother? Have you been told to get your box, my brother? Have you been given your walking papers, my brother? What's going on?
I mean, what does this mean for people like Vikingo?
Right.
That shows up, had one of the best matches in the AEW this year with Omega.
Look, if you see K, you like, hey, like, I think you gotta make sure, you gotta wait till Vikingo shows up to the building and you gotta steal his passport and you gotta say you're not leaving.
we going straight to human trafficking, huh? All right. Damn.
There's a contract waiting for you for the second you can get out. Come here. But Mystico and Rocky Romero, they sell tons of tickets to this thing. In the walk up, they're doing pretty well. And this match is gonna air on Rampage.
It also should be noted that since AEW has gone back to moving the prices back down to where they were before, they're moving tickets a lot better of late. Yeah.
They played a nice video package explaining, about Mystico, and these guys have been going at it in CMLL pretty much all year. They're gonna have a title match. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna definitely check out Rampage next week.
Rocky never has bad matches in AEW. His matches are always good,
and he's been great in CMLL. And look at this guy. This guy's the real Forbidden Door. He's the one that's tying all these companies together. Even because
isn't he on the unofficial booger for New Japan Strong?
Yes.
Or New Japan of America, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I know people like to talk about Tony Khan and his lip service for Stardom, and we've got a couple of friends that really hammer down on this point, but the person that TK goes through is Rocky Romero to try to access that stuff, because why wouldn't you go through Rocky Romero? That's how you get connected to Bushi Road. But I don't know, man. It's this is gonna be fun, and I think that this is potentially very exciting, especially swapping CMLL over from AAA. Say if a lot more CMLL people, either decide to start coming over. I think it's a higher quality of Lucha Libre.
It is.
I love AAA.
It's less, of the junk.
Yep. And I think
we never got Psycho Clown over either. So so if we ain't gonna never get him over, then what's the point?
Yeah. And I think it would be really cool, to lock up New Japan, CMLL, AEW as this, with WWE basically reapplying those trademarks for global localization and all that stuff. This is the axis right here. They're building a defense front between AEW, New Japan, and CMLL. James, one man once said it's only going to be 2 labels.
Oh my God.
It always comes back.
It does.
But I would be excited to see, some of the guys I show up on a Friday night in Arena Mexico. Brian Danielson wants to go wrestle in Arena Mexico.
Yeah, it's been a dream for him for 5 years or some shit like that. Yeah. And I remember Mel's been like, does he not and this is before CMLL got better again over the last year and change. He's like, hey man, do you not realize CMLL is not Arena Mexico and CMLL is not what it used to be. It's turned around. I hear good things about it, pretty regularly now. So
they're selling lots of tickets every Friday night. They're selling out Arena Mexico every Friday night. Can they, can they do a little joint show down there or something? Can we get some stuff popping? I love to see it. I love to see the crossover. But very excited about this. I think Mystico's gonna win, and I think this is gonna be the first of many things to come. Hopefully,
yeah. Because look. I think there's reluctance I think there's reluctance for them to fully embrace a partnership with AAA, especially because at the cost of what it means for people that they have to push certain level, and then all of a sudden Forbidden Door comes around, they're just yanked off TV.
Forbidden Door would also have a new dimension if CMLL's in the fold.
Right. And also it leaves potential where it's like they could do their own version of Forbidden Door with CMLL, do a cross-promotional show. They could absolutely do that. Because they do have, like, not to say that AAA doesn't, but like CMLL has like has better access to better women's wrestlers than AAA does. So like, yeah, I'm in. I'm fine with it. Like, I like to see them, do weird things and see if they can find interesting out all that stuff. So yeah, I'm with it.
So last week we had Title Tuesday. We kind of talked about it in the opening of this thing. So I didn't want to go. There were a couple things we need to talk about from this show.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'm pulling my notes up here.
Okay. You did better than me. I don't write notes anymore. Like this, especially because it was Tuesday. It feels like this show was like 2 weeks ago instead of just
yeah. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if we're going to do a full review for this thing, but
I mean, look, they had 2 killer matches on the show that are worth commending. Definitely.
Yeah. Let's start with those, like, rather than do a full show review. So like Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland opened this thing up, and I felt like I was watching, someone take another major step forward. I was unsure who was going to win this match. I thought I found the whole thing for the TNT title to be kind of mystifying. Like that was the
like, why the fuck is this for the AEW World title?
Correct.
Oh,
and then especially when Swerve's alluding in his promos to, I want to be the first black AEW World Champion, and then this thing's leading like to the TNT title is kind of interesting. It feels like there like something was lost in translation there. It's almost like, yeah, we can't put Danielson and Swerve for the number 1 contender for the world title because neither of them are going to either beat MJF, and then we don't want to have MJF beat either of them either. So
and also like we're stuck in this like MJF verse, and like we don't want to veer from that necessarily. Not to say that because obviously you have the Jay White thing in place already. So yeah, that was already in place.
Right. So like it had to be for something else. So well,
it didn't have to, but it just was.
Yeah. So like this thing ended up with Danielson winning. This was an awesome match. And it was just it was really cool. It was like, yeah, man, we've always heard about from Seattle. Like Danielson has always been like, the legend and all that stuff like that. But it's like, yeah, man, Swerve's from Seattle too. Like what y'all think about Swerve? Like, and this whole thing, like, over the past, like, maybe past couple of weeks, I think the calls for Swerve to become the champion are starting to get loud on Twitter. And
yeah,
I don't know if they're all fans of One Nation Radio and all that, but I feel like some of that stuff is emanated from this direction.
Yeah, I never, I don't think I've ever like campaigned for Swerve to be the AEW World Champion, but I definitely felt like, I enjoyed a lot of what I saw with him in NXT, obviously. I enjoyed, the first time I saw him in 2019 wrestling Zack Sabre Jr. And there's also, I bring that up because like this match gave me a lot of flashbacks to back then where it's like, I didn't realize this dude was that sound technically. And then the match keeps going, and this match was better than that Sabre match, but like the match just kept going, and it was like, he's starting to check off a lot of boxes that people didn't think he may or didn't know he may or may not have had. And it's like, for those that don't know, this kind of stuff I've luckily already seen before. For this, so I was like, I was that high on him. And yeah, man, like, he's a great wrestler. And he's been a great wrestler for a long time at this point, and that's before you even get into like the Lucha Underground stuff or whatever. But like, yeah, he's a great wrestler, and like his finishes have a lot of thought of looking forward to the future and storyline implications, in a way that like I don't necessarily think he gets credit for. But like, yeah, man, like he's just doing solid, or more than solid. He's doing great work consistently every chance he gets. And I think that, I think something's gonna happen. We'll see. But like, I was over the moon about this match, and it's like, just to go with because he's now like, he's having matches with like, the made men in AEW as opposed to, now we're gonna put you here with this tag team, and like it's on you and Keith Lee to kind of, you know, do some things for them and get them over the top. And now it's like, all right, it's no longer about you having to do X, Y, and Z to try to prove. It's like, nah, you proved to go out there with the best, and he's out here with the best now, and he's amongst them. He's showing himself to be amongst them.
It's it's going to only get more interesting the further this year goes, I think, and into next year, because I think by next summer, like we're talking about like the way this thing's going, like, and it's like this groundswell, I think, that's happening, that people are calling for it, and then it's just like, all right, man.
And also there's a lot of, you know, there's a power vacuum in place. Like, you know, you talked about this, like we were talking about Wardlow at the time. Like we have so many quote unquote younger guys, and we have the older established class, and it needs to be people that pop up in that, you know, early 30 range. And Hangman was like the only one that was there, and we like Wardlow's going to fill that void. Like Wardlow thing, you know, we'll see how it goes, but like it definitely dipped out to where it's like it's definitely uncertainty now. And like we just saw the Hangman in Swerve match, and it's like, and we saw the, you know, the contract signing, all that stuff. It's like, yeah, that can be a future rival for Hangman.
Right.
That could be one of those guys where it's like, if you feel like it's too far down the line to go to, or not too far down the line, it's going down, it's stretching it too much for me, like go with Guevara or go with Darby because of the size or whatever the fuck you talk yourself out of it with, then yeah, Swerve's right there.
Yep. Like a lot of people are like looking at between him and Jay White, like that's like, you know, that those are the next two people they're pointing at. So
I mean, it makes sense given how well Jay White and, you know, the Gun Club have done on Collision.
Yeah. Even the you know, there was not like a super clean finish on this thing, but like
right. But it led into what you knew was going to happen in the next match.
Yeah. So Hangman pulls the crown out of Nana's hands while he's trying to cheat, distraction, and that leads to Danielson getting the win. And then like the Jay White Hangman match, this felt like I was watching a G1 match at times. I was paying attention during the breaks that this match got overwhelmed with, and usually I don't. And I thought they were hitting each other with shit that was like, yeah, man, this is like night 2 of the G1, and you know, they're trying to set a tone out here, but they're going hard at the same time. And I knew the bullshit was coming or whatever at the end, but I was into this one. I know a lot of people didn't love this match, but I was like, yeah, that's what I expect from White and Hangman, and they have another level that they can get to. I think they've always worked well together. They've always been natural kind of rivals, and you know, this won't be the last time that we see these guys. Right.
In the future, can you just refer to those two when they're in the ring together as Hangman White and not White Hangman? Because I was like, wait, I know he's white, but what? And are you like, for one second I was like, wait, what? But anyway, yeah, man. I like the Swerve match more, but I thought this match was still great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, also sitting on the thing where it's like, look, I know what's about to happen by the end of this thing. So I can't get too invested, but I did enjoy what they were doing. I thought it was a great match, and even with like the beginning of like Jay White doing his fuckery of taking powders before at the start of the match, it was pretty fast compared to the New Japan thing where he'll you know, I used to watch some of those G1s he was in, like when I would binge watch him, and I would literally like I'll start the match, and like I would literally 4:30 or 15, whatever it was, until I finally got to him actually getting into a lockup or whatever else. Finally got the action once the bell rang, because I'm not putting up with this shit. And there'd be sometimes I'd be like, I got some time. Let me just count to see how much long for, like, when the bell rings to they actually lock up or do anything. And it'd be like, oh, he wasted 2.5 minutes. Oh, he wasted 3.5 minutes. So like, yeah, like the fact that he made that basically like, I don't know, 45 seconds and then just wrestled after that, I was like, appreciate it. Thank you. He's on some of his best behavior in AEW. He realized like that shit do not fly over here.
Yeah. Also, there was a international championship match. Rey Fenix was kind of injured, so they did the short match.
Yep.
Orange Cassidy defeats him for the belt, gets the belt back, stares at it longingly. Don't know what that means.
Cuts corners to get it back by like taking advantage of the injury on Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe a change of character for Orange Cassidy. I don't know how I feel about this. I thought they had another level for him to go to, but maybe he's destined to be Razor Ramon.
I guess. I don't know. I enjoyed the match for what it was, but it wasn't like they were trying to have their best match, obviously.
Nah, Phoenix is broke up and had to come off that shit. I wanted Phoenix to keep it for a little bit, maybe run off like 5 defenses and then, do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not the plan. Powerhouse Hobbs destroys Chris Jericho, beats the shit out of this guy. Okay. Jericho told this guy to pin him with his knee on his face. This felt like one of those Brock Lesnar and John Cena demolition matches. I think, however, it should have been way more dynamic than it was.
Yeah.
I think, he hit him like 5 or 6 spine busters, right? They all looked effective and all that, but I felt like Hobbs should have got in and out of this stuff like kind of quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Just to drive it home rather than
make it actually feel like a squash, as opposed to like this is just prolonging. As opposed to this is the beginning of like the first act of the match.
Right. It was just like this slow kind of like this slow deconstruction where I feel like this would have been more effective if it was like, all right, Jericho, you were letting the guy pin you by kneeling on you in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why go 7 minutes? Just go 3 and then like put like less like filler in it. Do your attack, because we know Jericho had to get like at least the one like kind of attack on him, but let Hobbs like thoroughly dominate him, because you already let him thoroughly dominate him anyway and pin him clean. So that was my only like kind of issue with it, but Jericho's like in full give back mode, it seems like right now, possibly a Fozzy tour coming. And they clearly shot the angle backstage after when he was, was icing his neck down, like he'll be back, for whatever he's going to get out of this. But, it is what it is. Like, you said, is Cody and Brody Lee still the best squash in AEW history? Or Lance Archer and Marco Stunt, one of those two.
Look, there are a few great all-time squashes in AEW history. Those two,
Kenny Omega and Sonny Kiss.
I wasn't gonna throw that on there. That's not on there. You're just being funny. Remember when people were like, "Yeah, this is homophobic by AEW to have Kenny Omega squash Sonny Kiss." Are you unaware of what's going? Are you unaware of Golden Lovers, my friend? What the hell are you talking about? If anything, this is community on community violence. But anyway, I would throw, I would throw the Malachi Black's first match against in AEW versus Cody on there, because that thing was like, my god, that was an incredible story for.
I think that's the peak of Malachi Black.
Like that one, that wasn't even like a squash where it's like, oh my god, he's murdering him. It's like, yo, this is like just compelling storytelling and everything of the characters interacting of this dude just being completely overwhelmed, and caught him at the right time. But those would be the ones that immediately come to mind for top 3. Because when he also you mentioned the Archer one, didn't Brody Lee also get a piece of Marco Stunt too? It wasn't as impressive as
in the
Archer.
post match, I think.
It wasn't as impressive, but like those 2 Marco Stunt squashes, them things, they need to bring him back. They need to bring him back from all time squash. You remember when the Lucha Bro took a piece out of his ass for forever during a tag match one time? Yeah, I remember. And people were complaining about, like, bro, Penta just threw that man from a one-handed gorilla press. Shut the fuck up. This is awesome.
We got a new women's champion. Yay! Hikaru Shida defeats Saraya, and admittedly, I think maybe Saraya's best match in years. I don't know.
This is their best match in AEW. Absolutely.
I'm not opening the notebook or anything, but you know,
right. It had a lot of shades similar to the Tony Storm match in Tampa that when Sheeta won it for the second time, where it's like all of the interference and stuff is rampant in it. They set you up to where like she avoids it the first time, but then she gets caught with it, with the more interference the second time around, and you're like, okay, this is it. And she's in a near fall. That near fall almost like gives you a feeling of guarantee, like, oh shit, she just kicked out of like her best chance of cheating to win. She's going to win this fucking title. And then by the time you get to the end of it, it's like she wins at the end. You're just happy that like that she wins the belt, and like it's the same thing as that Tony match. I think the Tony match is better, obviously, but still, it's just like it's similar story paths of like giving you the high, the ebb and flow of the match, and like giving you like the feeling of like the gut punch of you about to lose, and she kicks out. You're like, oh shit, she's winning now. I'm in. I'm in. You gotta win. You gotta win. Don't break my heart. So yeah, happy for Sheeta. After, because she never should have lost the fucking belt to begin with. So,
yeah,
we just pretend that Saraya shit never happened. That was a bad month. We can just move on. We can move on, and we can start getting some high level women's title defenses. Like if Timeless Tony Storm, the Assassin, wants to come back out, we can do that too.
Don't really have too much to say about it, except thank God it's over. Always like Hikaru Shida. There's like a base level of competency there. As far as at the least, like, and you look at everyone's best matches in AEW, chances are Hikaru Shida standing on the other side of the ring. In like 80% of the cases. But what else do we have on this show? The MJF thing with the quarters and Juice Robinson and all that stuff. So this was admittedly, Richard Latta in his personal life has not been as plugged into worldly news of like the past month. Due to Richard Latta's own personal life and issues and things I've been going through, like that have not allowed me to
Right.
essentially like invest my time and emotions into current world affairs. I'm worried about my world at the moment, but Jeff Jarrett style, my world. But yeah, people in the comments breaking it down for me. So like this thing ended up with MJF cutting a radically better promo than he did.
God, I actually love this promo. I love this promo. I was like, where the fuck has this guy been for for 2 months?
Yeah, man. And
like this was out of all the stuff. My biggest complaint about this whole, or one of my biggest complaints about this MJF and Adam Cole thing is that like the crowd has just forgiven this guy for being a bastard without doing any work towards redemption or none of that. It's just because he found another because the bad guy found a friend, we like him, even though it's like his friend was an asshole too. So when he comes out and he says, look, man, me and you, Jay White, we're alike. Like, the thing is, you just don't get it because you haven't gone through what I've gone through and like to understand like what it means to change all that kind of stuff. I was like, thank you. This is what I wanted months ago, but you never did it because it's like, oh, they're friends, even though they're both assholes. And it should be fun. You should enjoy the two assholes are friends. Like, because, they found love in a hopeless place. Suck my dick. Anyway, so yeah, I was happy. I was like, he finally like gives the part where like it's not a whole con job, and he's just like joking with the crowd that like he's actually a bastard. He's ready to stab us in the back of negative times. He'd be like, well, why do you like me anyway, you schmucks? So like I was really happy about this. And then he pulls out the quarters, or Juice pulls out the quarters and has Freeman on it. And like at the time, I didn't think about it. It didn't register to me.
Same.
And then someone mentioned, I was like, oh yeah, they shouldn't have done that one.
I was like, oh, that's going to be the discourse. That's what I thought immediately.
I was like, they shouldn't have done that one. Now it's true. Juice has, since he's been in AEW, been rocking people with the quarters and all that kind of stuff. The part is, you don't need to put Friedman on there. Now, keep in mind, like, at the time, I did not necessarily know that Friedman was a Jewish last name. It's not exactly gold or black or silver or green. but or a Berg, but like once I hear like that is a traditionally Jewish, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. Now, am I offended by it? Not necessarily, but like my offense does not matter in this particular case because I am not the offended. So,
right.
Yeah. My thing is like, this ain't got nothing to do with me. They tell me you ain't supposed to do this shit, so you shouldn't be doing this shit. The end. That's the end of it for me. They say you ain't supposed to be doing this. You ain't supposed to be doing this.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all I got on it.
I am not, I mentioned like the past month or whatever, my life not allowing me to really invest in current events, but this is not some new shit.
Right.
I've always kind of looked at this as like Bloods and Crips. You can ask why they fighting, but like you're going to get a bunch of different answers from a bunch of different people. I can't really call it. Like, I got nothing for you, Chief, on that.
I follow enough of it to know what's going on. Me and you have talked about it a lot when Kyrie, was it a couple years ago, talked about the Free Palestine thing, and he was a Brooklyn Net, and I was like, is he sure does he know that he probably shouldn't be saying this out loud?
Oh, speaking of that, I was in Brooklyn this week.
Mm-hmm.
They deep out there.
I know they are. That's why I was like, are you sure? Do you know where you're saying this at? Right? So yeah, regardless of what is happening in the Middle East, like just in general, you can't be doing the quarters thing when his backstory is that like he used to get bullied by they throwing quarters in. And when I first thought of like, I know they threw quarters in because he's Jewish. So I get why he freaked out about the roll of quarters. I did not put the two together like that Freeman is a Jewish last name, and I was like, oh, nah, you can't be doing that. That's a step too far.
It's a lot.
But if it had just been the part where like he just had his quarters and it didn't have his name on it, just in the quarters, and he had freaked out, I've been like, I get it because it's personal for him and it's some misunderstanding. But like once you put the actual Jewish last name, I was like, oh yeah, you shouldn't have done that one. And then then you throw in like what's happening right now, and it's like, yeah, this ain't the time or place, and even without that there, you shouldn't have done that one. Yeah.
It looks like they've like pivoted off of that. They've kind of swapped this thing. I think Jay White presented him with a ring because he's going to be in that Dynamite Battle Royal next week. So it's like he's going to knock him out with a ring. So like
much better.
And like James said, like it ain't on us to really tell people what to be offended by. So the only people that lose in this situation, I think, are those people that rail against other people being offended. So
yeah, you know who ain't finna lose over this? Us. Ain't got shit. Look,
not my battle.
I respect what people take stands on, and they took stands on this one, so I'm fine.
Yeah,
this is a teachable moment, if you will.
Open your minds,
right? It costs you nothing not to be an asshole to other people.
Yeah, and it's a lot, man. It's a lot. I see a lot of celebrities right now. They talk about what side they on. I'm like, oh, how you gonna say you read a Malcolm X book and be on and say some of those things? That's wild to me, bro. That's wild to me. Muhammad Ali fan, huh? Yeah, you know what they thought about that stuff? You must have not read that book. Yeah.
Then again, you think about like where they going to teach from. Where did Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X teach from? The Nation of Islam. Maybe we shouldn't necessarily be so on it. It's hard, bro. It's hard, bro.
It's a lot.
I can tell you right now a damn bigot for Jewish people, and that is Louis Farrakhan. So I can't. Nah, man. It's you got to consider the source for some of this shit. You really do.
Like, oh, he said that? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I know where this info comes from.
Where you learning it from? Oh, there? All right.
He'd be like, hold on. Are you learning are you learning out of these books with no barcodes on them?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Who do you think our Hebrew Israelite brothers are rolling with? I'll keep it going. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Like,
Don't
you
answer
really
that.
expect me to answer that one? Yeah, first off, you already know the answer to that one. Motherfuckers talking that nonsense about stolen history. Nah, man, you're denying our history. You are in delusions.
Okay, man. Moving forward. Hope we address that as One Nation Radio as we could.
You know, if you're trying to figure out words, or if you're not familiar exactly or don't remember what some of the stuff we're talking about, you can go to the Kyrie Irving, Kanye West segment of our show from last year. We talked about these idiots and anti-Semitism, so you can go there. You get more in-depth ideas of what we think about this stuff, man. Like, hey, man, I don't know how niggas keep tripping up over this one. I just don't. Not for the life of me.
Yeah, man, it's real easy to avoid, I think, but
it truly is.
I don't know, man. It's a lot, man. Like, so the main event of this show was Adam Copeland taking on Luchasaurus, and I didn't love this. I thought there was elements of the match where it was like, all right, Edge. Like, I feel like I saw like Edge's entire match before it happened in this match, and it was like, I think I would probably go like 3.5 on this, and I thought it was like, yeah, man, if this was like a pay-per-view match in WWE against a monster, there were things, there was like an outline of a great match in there. I feel like needed to chop a couple minutes off, and I think Edge needed to hug the bottom rope less. You know, they did the whole thing where he was just doing a whole bunch of selling. It was like him against a movie monster, essentially. And he ended up getting the win. Not necessarily the like, if you look at Edge, he's a big guy, right? Like, yeah. Everybody knows he's tall as fuck. Yeah. So, like, they immediately put him in there with almost like the biggest motherfucker that was like necessarily like near him. So I think that's the like trouble with Edge, because he's so tall. And now this whole roster is like, or most of his roster is like short. Mm-hmm. So the more he goes on, it's going to be interesting to see how his matches like are laid out. I didn't think this was bad or anything, but it also wasn't like, you know, it was not like exciting or anything. It was like, oh, okay, I see what he's trying to do here. And, you know, your mileage may vary, but there were a couple cool spots in the match. There was like two cool spots, or at least one, where he like speared him off of he did like the
steel
jump
steps
to the steel steps.
Ran off the apron, jumped on the steps, jumped off the steps, spear.
Yeah. So like, you know, I like that. But yeah, there's, you know, Edge, I think is going to be a work in progress for him.
So I don't have an honest grade for this match. All I know is when I saw the match start and I saw Edge, old man, selling like he was doing when he came back, I immediately checked out, and I was like, no, don't tell me you brought this bullshit over here. Yeah. And then they did, you know, went outside, they did the, you know, the launch pad spot off, the launch pad spear spot off from the apron to the steel steps to the floor. But like I kind of just got lost in the rest of the match, whatever else. But it wasn't bad, but I wouldn't say it was great either. But like it was like, at first I was like, no, you don't tell me you actually don't. Right. God damn it, Tony Khan, you fucking sucker! Like
you've been got again.
Yes.
Yes. Hoodwink, bamboozle.
Yeah, like I was like, all right, you motherfuckers talking about like, you know, the Bret Hart, you know, the Bret Hart stuff, whatever else. Like the Bret Hart stuff was better than laying on the fucking ground. I was, bro. The toxic shit that was going through my mind at the beginning of the first 3 minutes of this match. I was motherfucker in Copeland. Oh my god, I was ready to turn on this man. He turned it around. But yeah, man, like, the talking segments he's hitting on with everybody has been on point. So like he's winning from that. It's just like it's gonna be a struggle for these matches, I imagine. Until he can start using weapons and whatever else. He'll have old manism stuff he could do to get around that stuff. But yeah, man, like as far as most of the TV he's done, all the TV he's done except for the matches, except for that match, I think it's been great. So you know, I'm still pretty high on Copeland right now.
Yeah, like
we need to talk about Copeland and Starks.
I think we do. I think we do. So I didn't watch the whole segment or anything, but I did see the clip, and the Danielson and Christian match is getting good reviews. But this whole thing with Ricky Starks and Edge, it did not look right.
It looked like they was out here.
It looked like they was taking like side shots. It was it was like as soon as like somebody hit Edge with that.
As soon as Stark said he had bug eyes, it was like, oh, it's gone left. It's gone left.
I was like, even the bug eyes, that wasn't even that bad. I was like, okay, maybe he just wasn't supposed to say that, but Edge had to fire back with something.
Edge fired back like he had that. Like, look, I keep a folder in my back pocket for everyone.
He was like, yeah, man, I'm talking about your pants, dumbass, or your silk pants, dumbass, or some shit like that. And keep talking to him. So Ricky was like, well, I guess they didn't give you style from that other place. And then it's like, at that point, you kind of cast Edge in a light where he has to defend himself.
And you ain't going to be the one to talk about proxy, style when who you got your style from.
Yeah. Like by proxy, he's defending, the other place kind of, but like he said, hey man, you got your style from this guy, which is, people have said this to Ricky Starks before or whatever.
And it's been promos he's agreed upon.
Yeah. But maybe this is different. And then, he's like, that really sent me over the edge, which I think was a good way to kind of wrap it up, turn it down, but Edge clearly looked bothered by this. And
look, that was a cute little line at the end. Edge fucking murdered him. You say what you want to, how well he handled it to get back to getting to the point.
Because he stuttered.
Edge
stuttered.
was on his ass.
He stuttered through it though. Like,
yeah, that's cool.
A rap battle.
Yeah. He stuttered. He stuttered. Who had the better lines though?
Here's the moment. I just hope that there's no lasting resentment on this. But
I'm not trying to see no Starks Copeland match anyway, so that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
may they never touch ever.
This is just weird how this happened. Like, it was just like I don't know. Like it because I think this thing was all like laid out as like a one dude comes out after the other type of promo segment or whatever, and it's almost like, if you weren't booking this, maybe you don't get this. Yep. So I don't know what to make of this, because obviously we have other examples to point.
I don't think it's look. There's nothing to suggest that Edge is going to behave like CM Punk.
One would hope not.
There is nothing to suggest that.
So like, all I know is that like,
I just thought it was interesting to like, 8 days in and it's hot, and it got hot real quick on live mics.
Yeah. So like, look, and I think like you said, like, I don't know if Edge is necessarily the dude you want to play with like that, because not the smallest guy in the world. And he's always had kind of quick witted, a quick sense of humor, and he can probably cut you down a way or two. And I think he's got something going as far as being a legend babyface that people are into and don't like dislike, like almost like in a like, why are you the fuck are you hanging around like type thing. Mm-hmm. He has that right now. Like, he's not always had that. Like, he's sometimes like, I just think asking Edge to be like a 25-minute wrestler is insane at this point.
It was insane 2 years ago.
And I think if they need to avoid that, because this match, obviously there were special circumstances. They were doing a fucking overrun and all this shit. They were in the ring for all this extra time.
Yeah,
they need to put Edge on that 12-minute and below plan, like, on this low management, Wow. And see if we can maximize those minutes. That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
But as far as Edge and Ricky Starks, this was just awkward, and
yeah.
I think that I feel like both guys are responsible enough to let it die there or whatever. Maybe it was just a great moment for us, like as fans, we got to see. Right?
Were there camera shots of Danielson's reaction? Like,
I'd almost want to check.
Like, was he smiling his ass off, or was he mortified?
I think Danielson, like, he always has that high smile.
That high ass. That's what. Either one is entertaining, but the smile is like he don't give a fuck. He's like whatever.
Yeah.
You know, Danielson, none of that shit bothers Danielson. It'd be bothering everybody else, but not him. And just unbothered. I just want to go out there and have the best matches I can and have good programs. All the other shit y'all doing, I don't give a fuck about that, man. I'm just here to wrestle. I'm just here to be employee of the month. Y'all on some other shit. I follow the mission. Look, BCC, we follow the mission. Y'all on some other shit.
Oh man. But yeah, that's all I really got on this. Here. But yeah, man, that looked weird. I'll just keep your eye on it.
Yeah, I guess you gotta file that away to keep just in case. Yeah,
I have not listened to any of the reporting on this, so
Same.
I'm just.
I haven't followed, bro. I haven't listened.
I haven't followed any of it, so
in months. I've just been watching these shows, and just have my own opinion on this stuff as far as thinking about what's coming forward. I don't know what Meltzer's been thinking about for none of this stuff, other than seeing his star ratings be like, "What is these? What's going on? What's happening?"
What do you make of this? Isn't on the sheet, but we talked about it last week. FTR losing these belts.
Oh shit.
And apparently
any chance they're losing, just getting right back.
There is no injury. I believe I heard maybe Trish said this on Tunnel Talk. Maybe on shout out Tunnel Talk.
Okay,
like that. This whole thing was designed. I don't know if she heard this from someone or what, but if this is the case, I'm going to laugh my ass off. So, if it's designed for FTR to get the Bucks or get the belts back before they lose them, right? Mm-hmm. And it's done so FTR can be 3-time champs
before the Young Bucks are.
I'm gonna laugh.
Oh my god!
This is your grand plan? What? You want to randomly lose the belts a month before you actually lose them? Why?
I don't know. Like, I didn't really think of this in that, but like, I do know that like they like Ricky Starks, and so did CM Punk. So like, I think some of it is like, he's been fucked with. He's done nothing but like contribute in the ways we asked him to.
Conspiracy zone, by the way, too.
Yeah. I think that we got to give the dude something because like he had the program ripped from him because the dude left or whatever else, and it's like a make good for Ricky. I think like putting a belt on Ricky was like a some type of priority or some type of like thing to do for Ricky or whatever else. And that's the reason why I think like once I heard there was no injury, it's like they're just winning him right back. Like he's just to give Ricky something because like they. Giving him nothing once he started doing the Saturday shit with CM Punk. So
I think Dave is actually saying the rematch is going to be set for like the 28th. So we'll see how it all works out there. But this would be quite funny if that was like the intention behind this. I'm not saying this is what it was or anything, but just odd. Yeah.
And look, it's definitely Turner Wrestling in it.
But yeah, man. I don't think I have anything else. Oh, I got one more question from J. Antonio Teodoro. So this was, kind of in reference to the CMLL thing. He asked, so he was like, so given the news of AEW having a working relationship with CMLL, would you like to see a Forbidden Door Champions League of sorts? And who would you like to see in it / win it? And then he actually took the time to send me samples of a men's and women's bracket for how it's done in Champion League soccer format. First of all, I was like, yeah, man, I don't know what the Champion League soccer format is, so you're going to have to break that down for me. So this is how it works. And from him, he said the Champions League format is as follows: 32 football teams from across Europe with the champions from every European league, the winner of the previous Champions League, and the next best teams from across Europe. They play in a round-robin format with 4 teams in each group after the draw, never playing against another team from the same country in the group stage. After that, the top 2 from each group go to a knockout stage until one remains. Sent me 2 different examples of this, and basically it's like there's 4 different ones. I'm gonna send this over to James.
So there's 8 blocks?
I believe so. I'm going to send this to you. Maybe you can look at how this all works. Check your messenger in just a second. But he sent me all of these. So pot 1, it says, for example, maybe like MJF, Eddie Kingston, Alex Shelley, Kazuchika Okada, Tetsuya Naito, Kenny Omega, Kaito Kiyomiya, and Mystico. So does this just work like a G1?
Per each group that has faced each other, yeah.
Yeah. And
I don't think the points. I don't think there's a point system. I think it's just wins and losses.
Got you.
Like wins, losses, and draws. Well, actually, no. I see it right now. You get so you get 3 points for a win. You get 1 point for a draw, and obviously you lose. You get not shit. I love saying that every year when we do the Grand Prix recap. I love saying that if you don't win or lose, you get not shit. Yeah, I'm looking at this. Like, first off, I'm reading through it now. I see in pot 3 in the C thing, I see Jake Lee, and I'm just immediately disinterested. So
Can we take Jake Lee out of there?
Yeah, please,
Jay Antonio,
please. Also, I know good and goddamn well we got look. How many people know are in this thing? Let's see.
I see at least 2.
I see 3. And the third person I see. And the third person I'm seeing, I'm like, why the fuck is... No, I see 4. And the first off, how the fuck... No, I'm sorry. I'm cussing at this man. No, so let me... Look, man.
Reel it in.
If we're going to have 4 people from Noah involved, one of them cannot be Timothy Thatcher. I like Timothy Thatcher, but no. There's Kano,
Ninja Mac.
There's Ninja
Teriyaki.
Mac. Yeah, look, man, we can't... I know that... Look, there's Go Shiozaki still. Look, I understand that Katsuya Nakajima is leaving, but still, there are options besides just going straight to Timothy Thatcher and Jake Lee.
This looks pretty cool. I just don't know how they'd all do it. There's also a women's bracket he sent James, which is also pretty interesting. There's enough, around the world.
I think it's funny seeing pot 1, and then seeing the third block, and it's like Mayu Iwatani, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Julia, New Japan Pro Wrestling. These shenanigans, shenanigans that make this thing work.
They've been stolen. So yeah. It's kind of hard to talk about this in audio format.
Yeah. Because obviously, you can't visualize none of this. It's confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would love to see that. I don't know how, I think the only issue that would hold this stuff back is the logistics of clearing enough visas at all times, planning out all the wins and losses, where it's being booked.
Yep.
AEW seems to be rather sometimes they act like they don't know things are coming, especially with tournaments. They rush them, they don't book them the right way. Right. Kind of,
they're lopsided to where one side is loaded, the other side isn't. And also, AEW has this weird thing where if it's not something that's going to be on their card, they will pretend it doesn't fucking exist, even if there's wrestlers in it.
Yeah.
How many times Kenny Omega in Impact, Kenny Omega doing Triple Mania.
Kenny Omega at the fucking Tokyo Dome.
Another example, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be the only drawback, I think. But, just as a,
So, all right, so you looked at this woman's draw, right?
Yeah.
Is there can you find somebody, let me phrase this. There's somebody in here that I think has no business being in this fucking thing. Can you find them? Can you find? Don't say who it is. Can you find them?
Yes.
Is someone we talked about over the last few weeks that I said I've had enough of seeing?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Enough. This is fucking charity.
I believe she's undergoing a transformation of sorts, so we will stick with that. But yeah, Utami versus Shida, why not?
Well, that's yeah.
That's his mock final. Looks like,
yeah.
But...
I saw Shuri was in here. I don't know where she ended up getting knocked off at, or if she made it out the blocks. I don't think she made it out the blocks.
Yeah. I got a major problem with that. So
yeah. Oh, my dead body. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, like, if you're going to do this, like, you have to set it up to where, like, you have Shida and Shuri face each other at some point.
Yeah.
Just I would just do that just because that's what they would want to do if they're going to be in this thing.
Yeah.
I see Julia goes far in here, but I don't see any I don't necessarily see any Julia ice lore. So I don't think she would want to participate without the lore. and look, and me and you like the lore. People don't like the lore. We like the lore, but I'm just pointing out, like, if it ain't got a little sprinkle of,
somebody that she'd have wronged in her past.
Like, there ain't nobody from prominence you can throw in this bitch. Like, a little
Suzu in this.
I don't think Suzu's in it. No, I don't see Risa or none of them either. No, none of the other prominent wrestlers either. So I know Maya Yuki ain't on that list because you can't put on there because she ain't affiliated with nobody. No, right now she's a freelancer.
Spark Joshi,
Spark Joshi.
I'm still searching in my quest to figure out who's running this promotion.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got messages out, but
okay.
But yeah, I guess that'll wrap it up.
I know it's okay. I know who you talk about because I saw them there and I was like, I wonder, and then I heard the music like, oh, okay, yeah. The music sounds good through the speakers, Rich. Music sounds good through the speakers. Yeah. Wasn't no great setup, but it sounded good through those speakers. Yeah.
Stupid. But yeah, man. Guess we wrap this up, man.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, y'all. That's the end of the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this to. If it's not up on the stream, you can go to our red circle and donate through by going to the podcast and finding the red circle link and donating there. And also listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style and the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Thanks for listening, y'all. No, actually, do we need to make an announcement about Imp? Or is that?
Yes, we do. He is already on. His show is already debuted for the network.
Shit, dude, that's been out of sorts. Yeah, so sorry, Imp. I didn't give you a great plug, but Imp show is on here. Imp is now a part of Social Suplex Podcast Network after a long time being a contributor through guest appearances, all that kind of stuff over the years. He is now a member. So yeah, be sure to check out his new show as well as the other shows that are always on the network. So thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
I will pay for crack before I pay for Twitter.
Same.